What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Today I've got a couple of crazy entitled parent stories which you're gonna love. Now this first story comes from my own subreddit r/Redditor YT, link is in the description as always. Give me the Lamborghini your parents bought for your birthday. Sorry, no? So this all happened a few years ago on my birthday when my parents bought me a Lamborghini. I was about 18 at the time, I'm 20 now for my birthday. This happened a few days after my birthday when I decided to take it for a test drive by going to the grocery store. It was on a Saturday and my parents wanted some groceries to get groceries. After I got back, I see a lady with her 16-ish-year-old kid by my car, and that's where it all went down. Yay, no sarcasm. What are you doing? Oh, is this your car? Yeah. Well, we are looking for a car for my kid and we were wondering if we could have this one. Note, this was a used Lamborghini from 2015, so it was about $100,000-ish. No, you can't actually, because my parents bought this for my birthday and it's a very valuable car. Actually, I'm pretty sure this isn't even your car, so I'll be taking those keys. Then the entitled kid got involved. And if you don't give her the keys, we will call the cops. At this point, I was getting angry, and if they accuse me of anything, there are cameras all over the parking lots. Okay, call them. The entitled mum starts getting angry. Give me the keys now. Okay, I have better things to do, so I'll be going now. I was instantly cut off by the entitled mum. Listen here, bucko. Yes, she actually said bucko. If you don't give me the freaking keys, we will call the cops. You're probably a butthole of a pedophile who kidnaps little girls in that car. I'm gonna get in my car because I do not have time for this. The entitled mum blocks me from getting in the car. No, you stupid pedophile. Give me the keys. Kid, call the police. Okay. The entitled mum then proceeds to punch me in the face and tries to fight me. 10 minutes later, the police arrive. Both of you stop fighting. Thank God you're here, officer. This pedophile tried to kidnap my son in that stolen car. OP, is this true? No, sir. I was minding my own business until I saw this lady and her son on my car. I point to the Lamborghini. OP, do you actually have proof this is your car? Yes, I actually do. I pull out my license and registration. Look, EM, this is his car. No, it's not. He replaced the license and registration. Okay, let's check the parking surveillance. The entitled mum's face turns ghost white. The police officer goes into the store I shopped at and asks the employee, "Can I check the parking surveillance footage from the last hour?" Yeah, sure. Then the police officer said to his colleague, "Hey, arrest the entitled mum for assaulting OP and attempted car theft." The entitled mum was devastated to hear the news and proceeds to punch one of the cops in the face. Eventually, she gets apprehended for assault, assaulting an officer, and attempted car theft. The second officer then asked me, "Would you like to press charges?" I said yes. After that, we went to court and she got her driver's license revoked. I don't know why, and 3 years jail time. I might tell you what happened in court on another post. Alright, I've got a few issues with the story if I'm honest. I can't work out if it is totally true, but it was entertaining nonetheless. So what I'm going to do, which is what I usually do when we have stories that we're not sure if they are true or not, is I'm going to leave a poll behind the I button. So click the I button right now and leave your vote. Is this story definitely true 100%? Not entirely true, but based on reality? More than likely fake or definitely fake? Let me know, and also comment below what you think and your reasons for why you think that. Nonetheless, I've got to say, Casual Dude 1, thank you very much for posting this on my subreddit. We're now closing in on 15,000 members of the subreddit, which is quite incredible. You know what, I'll leave the link in the pinned comment as well if you guys haven't joined yet. Now for our second story. My entitled relatives tried to force me to marry a man I had never met before. When I was 22, my extended family, aunts, uncles, cousins, etc. began asking me why I wasn't married yet. I spent my childhood and early 20s in a fairly conservative North Indian state, and people in those areas tend to be deeply misogynistic, and the only way a woman has any value in their eyes is if she's attached to a man. Her own accomplishments, talents, etc. are of no consequence, so it wasn't all that surprising when I began getting these ridiculous questions about marriage while I was still in college. I'd recently lost a lot of weight, and for the first time I actually looked good in jeans. My weight loss seemed to cause their queries to reach whole new levels of idiocy. You see, they all assumed that the only reason I'd lost weight was so I could land a husband. Surely I hadn't done it for the sake of my own health and well-being, or because I wanted to look good for myself. That would be preposterous. My aunt, about whom you've read in this post and this, yeah, we have actually read about her before, was friends with a matchmaker. Now, matchmakers in India are these trashy middle-aged women who have nothing better to do than go around carrying photographs and info about eligible bachelors and bachelorettes, and share them with the families of young men and women who are looking to marry them off. My aunt's friend was no different. She showed my aunt a picture of some guy in his late 20s who also had a great job and was from a respectable family. Let's call this guy AJ. My aunt shared the picture and the info with my grandmother. Go read these posts to know exactly what kind of a person my grandmother was. I think we've read these before actually. Yeah, my grandmother stole my clothes and my grandmother made sure I stayed fat. Definitely read those two before. Between the two of them, they decided that AJ, whom I'd never met before, would be the perfect match for me. Keep in mind that neither I nor my dad had any inkling of what was going on. One afternoon, I think it was Sunday, my aunt came over when I wasn't home. She told my dad to get your daughter dressed up and pretty because she had promised me to a guy and his parents were coming over to see me that very evening. The tone in which she spoke made it sound like she had done me and my dad a big favor. My dad was shocked and asked what the heck she was talking about. She told him she had taken it upon herself to find a groom for me without my knowledge or consent and taken some of the burden off your shoulders, and that their mother, my grandmother, had approved of the match. My dad told her he would have to speak to me first, and whether the guy's parents can come over or not depends on what I have to say about this. This little idiot actually tried to convince my dad that my consent wasn't necessary, and that as elders they had every right to make this decision for me, but my dad wasn't having it. When I came home a few hours later, my aunt greeted me with a hug. This was enough to send red flags flying everywhere. I asked her what was going on and she gleefully told me what she had done and how her proposition had my grandmother's blessings. I told her to shove it up her butt and that I was in no mood to have an arranged marriage. Not then, not ever. She looked shocked and asked how I could say such a thing after all the trouble she's been through in order to find such a wonderful young man for me. I decided to get dirty. I told her if the wonderful young man is making her so wet, why doesn't she go marry him? Oh Jesus. My dad heard this and told me to watch my language. I told him I would if this female dog knew her place and knew not to poke her nose where it doesn't belong. My grandmother had heard the commotion from her room and called out to my dad. She began telling him about how she had seen the guy's picture and the matchmaker had told them all about his family, and how a match like this may not come along again. My dad told her that he would never force his daughter to marry if she doesn't want to. My stepmom said the same. I merely told her she was insane and belongs in a lunatic asylum. Yeah, you're right. This, of course, caused both Grand Monster and Crazy Aunt to fake cry and go on about how my dad doesn't trust them to make the right decision for his daughter, and that they were family and family has the right to make decisions for each other. What the actual frick? I wasn't going to budge, however, and told them I wasn't going to meet the guy or his parents, and my aunt better cancel the meeting if she knows what's good for her. Aunt left our house grumbling. But the drama was far from over. My Grand Monster, in order to emotionally blackmail my dad into agreeing to the match, with or without my consent, stopped eating. Anytime food was brought to her, she would break into crocodile tears and whine about how my dad was dishonoring her wishes. As she was diabetic, her health began to deteriorate. My dad was scared. One evening, he and my stepmom sat me down and asked if I would consider the proposal and just have a meeting with AJ's family. I was still adamant and said no. My aunt came over again and said she had great news, as AJ's parents were still interested in meeting me, and they would allow me to study and have a career after I married their son. I asked her what part of the word no did she not understand the last time we spoke, and who the frick do AJ's parents think they are to allow me to do anything? My aunt once again flew into an impotent rage and asked me how I could be so selfish. How could I disobey my family like this, and some other BS about how marriage is a union between families and not just individuals, and how in her days girls were married off as soon as they reached adulthood whether they liked it or not. I let her go on for some time as her little hissy fit was quite amusing to me. After she had exhausted herself, I told her that if she, Grand Monster, or even my parents even tried to force me into this marriage, I was gonna cut my wrist. And if I survived, the cops would know that I did it because I was being forced to marry against my will, and all involved would be in a world of trouble. Even if I died, I would leave behind enough evidence in the form of emails to all my friends and college professors, detailing how I was being mentally tortured so I could be forced into this marriage. Both outcomes would result in all of them in deep legal poop. I even showed them the email I'd already written, all I had to do was send it. And if any of them even think of locking me up and taking away my phone, laptop, etc., they should remember that my vocal cords still work and I would gather the entire neighborhood with my screams and cops would surely be called. As I spoke, my aunt's eyes kept getting wider and wider. She was in shock, but she knew me well enough to know that I was very capable of doing all of this. She left quietly. Grand Monster must have heard every word because her hunger strike came to an end. My aunt never tried to look for a match for me again. Later, my dad told me that he was only asking me to think about the match and that he would never force me to do something I didn't want to do. I told him I knew that and assured him that my threats were only meant to scare my aunts, and they worked. Oh my goodness me, you know what? We've read quite a few stories from this OP, and every single one is just incredible. Your aunt and your grandmother, who you call Grandmonster quite aptly, seem absolutely horrific. I cannot imagine a life in which they are involved. I'm just glad that you have sane parents, and hopefully the same people will outnumber the entitled ones eventually in your family. I also really like the marry him yourself suggestion. Imagine if you gave the matchmaker pictures of your aunt and grandmother and told her to find someone for them. That would have been insane. I mean, if I'm being honest, the amount that they're meddling in your life, it sounds like they're just bored. They need someone in their lives. Anyway, OP, I'm sorry that you had to go through this along with all your other stories. I hope your life gets better soon. So guys, that is going to do it for this episode of r/EntitledParents on my channel. I really hope you've loved it. If you have, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't done already. We're closing in on 400,000 subscribers. Also, drop me a comment down below, give this video a like, and watch another one straight away by clicking the end screen that is on your screen right now. With that all being said, I will see you guys same place, same time tomorrow for a brand new fresh upload.